General Manager Jim Nill has done it again. Mikko Rantanen is a Dallas Star. Let's get into it next.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Mikko Rantanen is a Dallas Star. Can you believe it? I've never gone live before. I had to rush home from the gym to get here to do an emergency pod, and it feels like no better time to go live than now. And it seems to be that the Dallas Stars have acquired Mikko Rantanen. Now, what is the return to Carolina? We still do not know. We are still awaiting that. And maybe we will find out when we are live currently. But my goodness, look, my initial thoughts are I absolutely love it. I love it. And the contract extension, this was the key part of the deal. This is what had to get done in order for the Stars to get Rantanen. And Elliot Friedman reported this about 30 minutes ago. Rantanen and the Stars are closing in on an extension, 8 years, $12 million AAV. $12 million AAV. Stars fans, this is a masterclass. He wasn't accepting these extensions from other teams. He turned down these offers from other teams. But Jim Nill knows how to get it done, baby. He knows how to get it past the finish line. I mean, it's a massive amount of money. We can be frank about it. It is massive. But who cares at $12 million? He wanted 13. At one point, an hour ago, they reported the contract was at a stalemate, and Jim said, we're not going a dollar over $12 million, is sort of what we're hearing. And the Rantanen camp wanted something like $13 million. And I credit Dallas for standing firm and holding their ground too. It wasn't going to be worth it if you were going to overpay for him, because you're already going to be giving up a ton. My initial reaction to this is fantastic. This is a heck of a deal for the Dallas Stars. And maybe I'll feel differently after we get the returns. But as I said a few days ago on Locked On Stars, I wouldn't bat an eye if you had to give up Miro or not Miro. I wouldn't bat an eye if you had to give up Stankoven or Bork. You're hoping Logan Stankoven turns into Mikko Rantanen. You're hoping Bork becomes that type of player. Rantanen is now, and the Stars need somebody that can put them over the hump, put them over the edge. And I think Rantanen does that. And he can slot in with Jason Robertson and Rope Hintz, because they haven't been able to find a right winger for that top line since Pavelski retired. They've tried Stankoven, they tried Bork, and they haven't produced enough. And maybe it's unfair because they're young, but the Stars, and I think Jim Nill, do not have the patience to just be close enough right now. They're not worried about 5 years down the line. They have a team that's built to win now in a Western Conference that doesn't seem as deep as it has been the last few seasons. Like, Winnipeg's good, Vegas is good, the Stars are good. Outside of that, are there really a lot of teams you're worried about? And Rantanen could be an X factor for you, because how much more can you rely on Matt Duchene at 34 years of age? He's been phenomenal. But are you going to be able to rely on him in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Like, how much more gas is he going to have post regular season? How much gas is he going to have? Could you rely on Stankoven or Bork to produce? Because what's been the downfall of the Stars in the Western Conference Finals last two seasons has been their offense. For as much complaints that we have about the back end, the blue line really hasn't hurt them that much in the grand scheme of things. What has hurt them is the power play, and the offense have shriveled up. I think that's why the Stars went so heavily after Mikko Rantanen. And I think he could be the piece to turn things around. I truly do. I love it. And yes, $12 million, a lot of money. And now you have to factor in, what is Stankoven, or not Stankoven, what is Johnston's deal going to be like? There's no way Johnston was included in this. Do not worry, Stars fans, why Johnston was not included in this. And I know many of you are commenting that right now. Johnston's not going to be included. I would think Stankoven or Bork could be part of the package. It could be both, right? It really could. It could certainly be both. And I don't mean to sound disrespectful to Bork or Stankoven, because I love them a lot. I love them a lot. But I don't believe they would reach the heights of Mikko Rantanen. And you can say whatever you want about him being propped up by McKinnon. Look, I would be propped up by McKinnon if I played for him. But Rantanen scored 55 goals one season, and his production's dipped a bit this year. And I'm not going to be blinded by that, but or pretend to be blind to that. But Dallas feels like a great fit. Stars are great off the rush. Roope Hintz, he's not Nate McKinnon, but plays a pretty direct style, plays fast, and I think Rantanen could fit perfectly with Roope Hintz and Jason Robertson, and you bring another Finn into the equation. I'm so shocked too about Carolina. It feels really weird that they would acquire him for Natchez, and then obviously if they couldn't get him to sign an extension, it makes sense for them to explore options to get rid of them. That makes sense, but for Mikko to sign a contract that is what he was offered in other places and say no, and then he just says yes to Dallas is almost mind-boggling. But again, it's a Jim Nill masterclass. And I do want to throw out there too, Rantanen's agent is the same agent as Thomas Harley and Wyatt Johnston. So they already have history. Of course, Harley was signed, a day before training camp? And Wyatt Johnston, of course, is working on an extension, or at least that's what we heard earlier in the week, that they offered Johnston 8 years by a little over $8 million, and maybe they're going to hold out. So really, really curious situation and a lot of moving parts. We're still awaiting the return. So we're going to continue to refresh X as we speak. It's been tweeted now by NHL Network. Mikko Rantanen reportedly being traded to the Dallas Stars, closing in on an 8-year contract extension. Of course, that came from Elliot Friedman. We're still awaiting the deal, but I love it, Stars fans. I love it, and it may come at the cost of Maverick Bourque or Stankoven, and that stinks. But also, those are the type of players sometimes you have to give up in order to make a big swing and win a Stanley Cup. I said that a few days ago. You have to be willing to take big swings sometimes to win. And this feels like a massive, massive swing. And that's what you get for drafting well. That's what you get for drafting well. You have assets to go out and get players like Mikko Rantanen. Yes, you can benefit from having those guys on your team, but you can also benefit by going to get a big fish in the pond. That is the benefit of drafting so well and having assets. And we heard a lot of rumblings that the Stars weren't going to do a lot. Bourque and Stankoven were going to be untouchable. Wyatt Johnston was going to be untouchable, as he should. But you have to reap the benefits of your young players in multiple ways, whether that's on your team, whether that's going to acquire the big fish in the pond. And look, I put out an episode today. I didn't think the Stars were going to go after Rantanen. I thought I would have been a bit shocked. I thought they were just going to maybe add a blue line piece and kind of go about their business for the rest of the season. But I think patience caught up to Jim Nill. Do not be fooled. He's very calm and he's easygoing, and he seems like a guy that is always happy with his team, right? That's always kind of the funny quote. He's like, I like where we're at. I like our team. But I think the last 2 times the Stars have been to the Western Conference Finals and they've lost, that changed something inside of the front office. And maybe Neil himself, that he wasn't going to stand pat anymore and just like where his team's at. Because, yeah, the Stars are good. Stars are really good. Be great. Be great. Great teams win the Stanley Cup. Great teams win the Stanley Cup. And having the best player in the world doesn't qualify you as winning one. Look at Connor McDavid. Right? The Florida Panthers are a great team. Stars are on their way to hopefully being that for years to come. And I think Rantanen's a piece of the puzzle. I love it. A lot of comments rolling in. I appreciate it. So much good stuff. What's your opinion on Rantanen not performing in Carolina? Do you think it was he wasn't happy or never settled in because he didn't mesh well? I think it's probably the latter. Carolina plays a kind of funky style. It's a lot different tactically than a lot of other teams in the NHL. And I don't know if that benefited Mikko Rantanen, who I think and I believe will benefit from the Stars style play. It's a little bit more run and gun. They like to fly, especially through the neutral zone. Stars are one of the best teams in the NHL off the rush. They actually create the most chances off the rush. They don't score the most, but they create the most. And Rantanen, I believe, will thrive in a system that will help enhance his attributes. Whereas, Carolina just has a more of a grinded out sort of style that they like to grind teams down. They play a heavy physical type of game, sort of embodies Rod Brind'Amour, their head coach, right? Pete DeBoer's system, I think, will really, really enhance what Mikko Rantanen does well. So that's why I don't necessarily think he has performed very well in Carolina. Plus, it's still really early, right? It hasn't played a ton of games. We spoke about this. I hopped on DLS Stars a few weeks ago, and they asked me about him, and I was like, well, you'd think Carolina would want to give him some time to sort of settle in. How many games has he? He's played 13, and he's got 6 points, 2 goals and 4 assists. Look, it's not numbers that jump off the page to you, but if you look at the Stars roster, and this is sort of my point, look at the even strength goals for Dallas. Robertson and Duchesne are up there, 19 and 18. But they needed Bork or Stankoven to be sniffing around there. And Bork has 8 goals at even strength. Stankoven has 8. They just need more. They need more. And Rantanen over the last few years has been just lethal on the power play. And he's been lethal at even strength. I mean, imagine what he can do here for the Stars power play too, who's already the best in the league here since like February 1st. But Rantanen, 18 even strength goals this season. He had 28 prior. He had 42 a few seasons ago. And is he going to reach those heights again in Dallas? Maybe not. Stars are really deep. They're not going to need him to put the cape on every night. I think the Stars are much deeper than Colorado has been in the last few seasons. So Rantanen played a lot because he was on that top line with McKinnon, and they played a ton, and they were relied on heavily to score a lot of goals. Alrighty, still awaiting a return here on the Dallas Stars acquiring Mikko Rantanen. We'll take a quick little break here, and we'll be back here to discuss the Mikko Rantanen acquisition a bit more. My goodness, we'll do that in just a moment. Today's emergency pod of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I know the NBA is a really touchy subject for you Dallas-Fort Worth civilians, really anybody in Texas after what has transpired recently with a team in the DFW area. But we're not going to get into that. FanDuel is great because they have a live betting feature that helps you keep every moment of the game exciting. And it's so easy to use. You can download the app, and when you win, you get paid instantly. And right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Well, it was funny because I did not see the initial report about Rantanen in Dallas last night at around midnight, I believe, which probably worked out for the better that I got a full 8 hours of sleep, because if I saw that, I think I would have been up on Twitter scrolling the entire night. So I woke up to a text from our Locked On NHL manager, Sean, who's wonderful, by the way. And he just threw out Mikko Rantanen in the text, and I was scrambling from the moment I woke up at about 8:30. I thought we had him. And then, it's a whole bunch of, we're hearing this, and the contract extension and all that good stuff. And now it seems to be that they've gotten this thing across the finish line. Jeff Merrick just tweeted this out about 4 minutes ago. Sounds like the basis of the return for Rantanen when they get the deal done will be Stankoven and 2 first-round picks, which feels like a lot. It is a lot. That is a lot, but I'm sorry. I'm okay with it. I really am. The Stars are so good at drafting, and the first round picks, what are they going to be anyways? You're going to be hovering around 26 to 30 in the next few years. It's hard to find impactful players at that point in the draft. It really is. And I'm okay with it. You have to take big swings, and this makes the Stars better. It makes it easier to win with Mikko Rantanen on your roster. And if it is Stankoven, it hurts, okay? It hurts. I love Stankoven as much as the next guy, and I was pumping his tires all off season and was really excited to see what he would become. So it is a little bittersweet. It is, but I feel like it had to be done, or maybe it didn't have to be done, but it's a deal that makes you better. And there's still some issues on the defense, yes, but you have to feel once Miro comes back, some of those issues will be taken away. Do not underestimate how much Miro Heiskanen can do for you. And Miro's going to be somewhat of a trade deadline acquisition for you. And then you have Miro, Harley, you got Labushkin and Lindell. That's a pretty decent top 4. Is it phenomenal? No. And then maybe CC and Bischel can be your third pair. And there's some question marks there. I don't disagree. Who knows what Bischel is going to be come playoff time? Can he elevate his game? It's a different level. Can he be a solid shutdown defender for you? CC is going to be CC. I really don't want to even pile on him. I feel like a lot of people in the NHL do, or just fans in general, like to crap on CC. But CC is just going to be steady as your 6th defenseman. And yeah, Jacob Lamar, Mikko's definitely a superstar. He's a superstar. And let's get all the Finns. I want all of them. I want all the Finns. So I am so thrilled about what the Stars have done here. And Logan Stankoven's in the deal. Sean Shapiro just put that out too, which is not a surprise. It was either going to be Stankoven or Bork. One of them had to be included. And again, it is bittersweet that Stankoven has to go. And there, it says several high picks in return. The Stars didn't have a ton of picks for this season. I'm going to go to Puckpedia here. So they don't have their first round, second round, or fourth round in 2025, but they have a 2026 first round, second, third, and then a 2027 first, second, third, all the way through. I would not be shocked if you get a couple of ones in 2026 and 27. And I think it's worth it. Who cares about the picks? Like, picks are worried about the future. The Stars are in win now mode. Are they really worried about a first round pick? They've already benefited from all the first round picks they've had previously because, well, not even just their first round picks, their second round picks. Like, they've had to grind it out to get players like Wyatt Johnson and Stankoven, who wasn't a first round pick. Like, those type of players they have found in deeper rounds, and they've made a difference. So I miss me with it's an overpay with a couple first round picks. Who knows what those players are going to turn into? Emil Hemming, right, was the Stars' first round pick. And there's some people that are high on him, but some scouts thought he maybe is a bottom six guy at his best. So like, who cares? Bringing a guy that's, scoring 30 goals a season at back-to-back 100-point years. Yeah, thank you. I'll take it. I'll take it. It's a masterclass, ladies and gentlemen. It is a masterclass. Let's go ahead and make it back-to-back GMs of the year. I love it. It's just another guy I think the Stars can rely on. That's why I think it's important. It's just another player that Dallas can rely on in the postseason to give you some offense, because you haven't been able to rely on what you think your superstar is in Jason Robertson, and he's been lighting up the world here over the last month or so. But how many playoff games or series can you think back to? And Robertson's young, that he's just taken over. Like, where's Robertson's big moments? I can name more from Wyatt Johnston, who's 21 years of age. And again, I'll say it again. Can you rely on Matt Duchene to give you, 10 goals come postseason time? I don't think so. It's going to be a lot of miles on his body. He's been great all year long. But how much more gas in the tank is he going to have when the grind of the postseason comes and you play every other day and you're getting worn down? You need fresh body. You need players. I said this today on today's episode. Stars have a lot of guys on the back end. They need some players. And maybe it isn't what you wanted as a Stars fan. Maybe you wanted them to go out and address the blue line. And look, I don't disagree with you. But if Rantanen's on the table, and I'm sorry, for $12 million a year, sign me up every single day of the week. Sign me up. There's some wonderful comments coming in. Want to try to get to some of them as we go. There's tons. So I appreciate all you Locked On Stars listeners joining me. It's the first time I've done a live. I rushed back home. I did about 5 minutes on the treadmill, and then I saw the deal got done, and I went out of that gym as fast as I entered because I had to hop on here. Even with injuries to our best team and Amiro, long-term injury to Sagan, who was on a heater, and yet this team has played phenomenal hockey consistently, mostly. Absolutely. I think this was a move too for Nil to say, hey, we're backing you boys. Like, you've been unreal. So let's try to get it done. I think the patience wore thin. I think the patience has worn thin, and he's not going to idle around anymore and just say, I like my hockey club. He's made the Dallas Stars better today than they were yesterday. Point blank. He's made them better. I think that's all that needs to be said. What a move. Alrighty. We're still awaiting confirmation on some of the returns, but it looks like we have them. It looks like it just came out. So we're going to get you the full return in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars brought to you by Trade Coffee. Everybody needs a good cup of coffee in the morning, but sometimes you get tired of settling for those grocery store brands that just aren't cutting it. That's why you have to turn to Trade Coffee. And let me tell you why. The coffee is next level. It's the #1 specialty coffee marketplace in the U.S., bringing you fresh coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Their experts have taste tested thousands of coffees, curating over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or know exactly what you like, they'll handpick the perfect match for you. And right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 40% of your first order at drinktrade.com/lockedonnhl. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/lockedonnhl for 40% off your first order. Drinktrade.com/lockedonnhl. Okay. Stars fans, buckle up. We do have, I believe this is going to be the official return to Carolina. This was tweeted out by Frank Cervelli. So, of course, Rantanen to Dallas, 8-year extension in place. To Carolina, Logan Stankoven, 2026 first-round pick, 2027 first-round pick, plus smaller pieces. Sign me up every day of the week. Sign me up for it. I think that is a fine and fair return for the type of player Rantanen is. And again, I can't get over 8 years, $12 million. He was trying to get 14. And I do want to say, I think maybe the agent for Rantanen, when finding out from other teams they weren't willing to give him $14 million, maybe there was sort of a humbling effect to that. Like, okay, there's multiple contenders that don't want to sign Rantanen to upwards of $14 million. Maybe we need to reevaluate where we're coming from, and we have to come down a bit. And credit to Dallas for sitting in there and playing hardball a bit. Like, I'm not going over 12 million if you want to come to Dallas. And as Jeff puts out perfectly, Texas, you get the in-state taxes. The taxes help, okay? That's why we live in the great state of Texas. So the taxes, I'm sure, certainly play a role. And sorry to the other teams that wanted Rantanen. It helps. So I think it was a bit of maybe there was some humbling effect to, okay, we're not going to get 14, but also, yes, taxes certainly help. That is a really good deal. Oh, I can't wait to watch 96 suit up alongside fellow Finn Rope Hintz. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. This is massive. This is putting a foot stomp on the Western Conference. And I'll say this too: the return to Carolina, even if it doesn't work out, let's just say it doesn't work out even the length of Mikko's contract, I still think a lot of Stars fans will believe it was a good deal because the Stars are in win now mode. And now it sort of muddies the water. There's a lot of things this is going to trigger. Is Wyatt Johnson going to have to sign a bridge deal now? Robertson eventually in a couple of years will need a new contract. He just signed his bridge deal. What is that going to look like? But also factor in, are you going to get back Matt Duchene? Can you just believe that Matt Duchene is going to be nice enough and be like, oh yeah, I'll sign another 1 year, contract for $3 million. I don't know. So, Matt Duchene could possibly be off the table next season. You may lose out on him. Ben comes off the books after this season. He's probably going to resign, 99% sure, but it's going to be cheaper. And then in a few years, you have Tyler Seguin, who's on the LTIR right now, but Tyler Seguin will come off the books. So the Stars will still have some wiggle room to sign some of their young guys, whether that's going to be Maverick Bourque and Wyatt Johnson at some point. And then in a few years, you got Harley again, but who knows what Harley is going to demand, because boy, he's looked somewhat like a top 10 defenseman here recently. So, yeah, there's a lot that has to be done. But yeah, that is it. Once again, Stars acquire Mikko Rantanen, 8-year extension, $12 million AAV. Carolina receives Stankoven, 2026 first-round pick, 2027 first-round pick, and there's some smaller pieces in there as well. Curious to what that means. Maybe a forward down in Texas, maybe even a defenseman. Carolina, wild how you had to give up on Natchez to get Rantanen, and Carolina's in a good spot too to like make a run. And you thought Mikko was going to be a big part of that, right? A big part of that run. So I don't know what that means for Carolina. I mean, they're still right in the thick of things. They're second in the Metro. But Jeff, Jim did not put Miro on LTIR. They did not need to put him on LTIR for this deal. Tyler Seguin is on LTIR and his cap hit was 9.8. So that opened up enough room. And also Mikko's really cheap this year. So they didn't need to put anybody else on IR to make this happen. A lot of people believe maybe Carolina would have to retain 50%. But Mikko's cap hit, if I look at it here, right, is $4.625 million. That's the cap hit for Carolina. So the Stars didn't need to put anybody else on LTIR because they had enough room to make this work. And I didn't think too, if the Stars went and got him, I said this on Thursday when I talked about the trade in general, when there's some speculation. I thought he would be a rental if Dallas was going to get him, and you can maybe retain 50% of his salary and it'd be like $2 million. But it made much more sense if you're going to go out and get somebody like Rantanen, let's have him for the long term, right? It makes more sense. Like, why get him for a rental? Let's bring him in, get him involved. And now this doesn't change the plans for Dallas either. That's the wonderful thing about it. The next decade, the Stars are going to be contenders. They're going to be contenders for a while. Again, they have not put Miro on LTIR. So, my goodness, Locked On Mavericks, a good trade in Dallas, ? Fair, very, very fair. Yes, a good trade in Dallas. Some GMs in DFW want they want to win, okay, and they don't want to give up their best players. Shout out to Nick Engelstad. Appreciate you popping in. Nick is phenomenal, by the way, with Locked On Mavs, and I do not envy what he's having to do the rest of the season. I've been really fortunate to hop on in a couple seasons when the Stars have been contenders. So I apologize, Nick, for what Nico Harris decided to do to the Mavericks, but maybe there's a new sheriff in town. The Dallas Stars, baby. Dallas is a hockey town. Come on now. Alrighty, that'll do it. I'm just fired up, and I think we kind of explored most of everything from every angle on this trade in this half an hour. It's the first time I've done one of these, and I think it went swimmingly. I didn't know how it all worked, but I think it did all right. So I appreciate all you wonderful Stars fans for joining me here on this live. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much for being involved. Mikko Rantanen is a Dallas Star. Unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, is he going to suit up here on the upcoming road trip? We got Edmonton. I think it would be nice to show our new shining toy to Connor McDavid, if you ask me. But that may take a few days. Alrighty, Stars fans. I didn't think I was going to have to do one of these today. I have a busy weekend ahead. I did see one of you ask where you can find me on the Ice Rays. If you want to pay for NATV.com, I work in the North American Hockey League. For those of you that don't know, I'm the play-by-play voice of the Corpus Christi Ice Rays. You can find me there. But there also is a way you can listen to me for free if you would like. I'll just put it out there since some of you asked. You can download an app. It's called Retro Radio CC. And you can download that app. And then there's a big Ice Rays logo. If you click on that, you can listen to the game. It's free. It's just radio. So you have to hear me. I don't know if you want to listen to me even more this weekend, but the Ice Rays have big weekend series here against Shreveport at home. So I'm going to take a nap and then get ready for that. I got to close it out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, Stars fans. Mikko Rantanen is a Dallas Star, and that's all that matters. And again, a motto that I've thrown out there to close it out: complacency is the enemy of success. Complacency is the enemy of success. Jim Nill and the Dallas Stars are not complacent. So long, Stars fans.